So should you play Bravely Default Flying Fairy, the HD remaster of the original Bravely Default game for 3DS? Before I can answer that question, I do have to say that this is a sponsored video. I was provided a code for the game on Switch 2 by the publisher Square Enix. As always, all thoughts, impressions, any nonsense that comes out of my mouth, it is all of my own thought and volition. So, should you play it? We're going to answer that for two people. First, if you're new to the game. And second, if you've played the original and you're looking at getting the remaster. If you're the latter, go ahead and skip to the future chapter. I've got a label for you. So if you've never played Bravely Default, it is a classic-style turn-based JRPG. You are 4 heroes going on a quest around the world to fix the 4 elemental crystals, yeah, you've heard this one before, and stop Cataclysm from happening to the world. It's a formula that you've seen numerous times from Square Enix, but it does have its own flair and its own very satisfying ending. What really sets it apart, though, is the characters. All 4 of the main characters are super enjoyable. They all have their own reason for being on this journey, but it all ties back into the reason for the journey. It's a very intricate but well-weaved tapestry. I quite enjoy it. That said, there is a huge chunk of the story near the end that becomes a chore. It's really repetitious, and it became really boring for me in the original, and I was dreading coming up to it in the remaster. The content that follows it is awesome. The big plot twist for the game is great. I thought about it instantly the first time that I booted up the game. It stuck with me that well. The turn-based combat in it is honestly, like, again, just another flavor of some food you've ate before, but it tastes really f***ing good. It's a system that involves bravely using up future turns to have multiple actions on this turn, or to default and guard on your turn to stack up an extra action to use later. It's got a job system with multiple jobs, from your standard like black mages, white mages, to like monks and knights. Just saying the early ones to not spoil some of the fun stuff that comes up. And you can mix and match certain classes and features, so you'd be a white mage with black magic equipped to use, you know, fireballs in between healing, or you could be a black mage with the freelancer job, so you can scan for weaknesses yourself and the next turn blast them with the required elements. There's lots of cool mechanics you can utilize. So now that the new people know what this game is, for the people that are coming back, what's different? So the two obvious main things for it are, one, it's gotten an HD treatment. The second obvious thing is that this is now on one screen instead of 2. So all the controls have been moved up from the bottom screen to the top screen. Everything's been kind of mashed together. All of the character, everything's been up-resed heavily. All the environments are much more crisp and detailed at a higher resolution. But this is, again, a remaster and not a remake. So we are using some of the old textures that, and sometimes you can notice that they haven't been quite given as much attention as others. The characters all look great. Anything that's a 3D model looks awesome. But some of the 2D textures on sprites and environments can just look really, really blah. I'm happy to say that the rebuilding of Tiz's hometown of Norende does come back. It features the same general mechanics as the original, in that you can get townspeople and then use those townspeople to repair or upgrade different shops or places and get new materials from the wandering salespeople. You do this in real time, not in-game time. So if I assign someone a job that's going to take a couple hours and I turn off the game and I go to work and I come back home, that'll be done. The ability to fast forward through battle for grinding returns. However, you can also now do this in conversations. So if you've played the game before, or you like just reading super fast, not listening to voice lines, you can absolutely spam through everything. If this is your second playthrough, you can just absolutely zoom. You can play this game as fast or as slow as you want, which is nice. You can set the encounter rate at any point in time between 50, 100, 150, and 200%, so you can have as many or as little battles as you want. However, the original had a 0% option, where this one does not. You're no longer able to avoid combat, which I find weird. One part that I found interesting was in the original there was augmented reality sections. Obviously we can't do that on the Switch, so they've changed them into full 3D scenes. You have full camera control. So one interesting missing feature is the Bravely Second mechanic. This allowed players to just pause combat at any point in time and do up to 4 actions as like a special turn. You could use to interrupt enemies or just otherwise like swing important battles. I don't know why this wasn't featured in the game. You did have to put your 3DS into sleep mode while playing the game to regen the sleep points or whatever it was you needed to use this ability. The Nintendo Switch does have the same capabilities. You could sleep the console while in the game. game, so I don't know why this wasn't included. There might be a reason for it that I'm just not aware of. One thing that's completely new to this version of the game is 2 mini games which use the mouse controls for both controllers. One of them involves rhythm mechanics, and the other one involves piloting a ship. So the first one is this DDR-esque rhythm minigame where you use both controllers in tandem to draw lines and hit icons and hit bars. And you play all this on top of an actual song from the main game. I think it's neat, and I think it's a cool idea. I don't see myself playing it again for any reason, though. I don't find it that interesting. But it would be much cooler as a standalone game in the like Hatsune Miku universe or something. So other devs, like, take a look at this, and if you're interested, like if this looks interesting to you, definitely try it. But it's not bad, I'm just not interested. The second one, however, you play as Ringabel piloting the airship you get in the game, and it's incredibly fun, if not a little bit too difficult. You have to turn the wheel, adjust your altitude, flick switches, shoot fireworks, swat flies, all while keeping on a path. You have to eventually shoot cannons, watch your health, all kinds of, like, there's so many moving pieces to it that you have to just keep moving around with the mice to try to, like, click and move all the things. It introduced a bit of brain pain for me, trying to figure it all out and get all the rhythms down, and like using 2 mice at once. It was weird, but it was incredibly fun. It reminds me a lot of the Mech Warrior game on Xbox, where you had that huge controller and it had all those different buttons and you had to like do all these like crazy inputs and It reminded me a lot of that, but just with 2 mice. And honestly, I want this as like a real game. I want something like this either on a mouse and keyboard game or using both Joy-Cons, or God, give me another Mech Warrior game with a huge controller interface, because like this was a cool game to play, and I'm going to play this minigame again as I progress through the game. So yeah, a quick summary. Should you play Bravely Default Flying Fairy? If you've never played it and you like JRPGs, especially the classic ones, absolutely. This has a retro Final Fantasy feel. It's got really fun risk versus reward combat, a really interesting and in-depth weapon and job system. The storyline's good, even though one section is rough. The payoff at the end is worth it in my opinion. The art style's super cute, super enjoyable. The only downfalls of it are, as I mentioned, that one rough section of the story and the low quality art. If you're a returning player, it's a bit harder to answer, because if you really love Bravely Default and you have a Switch 2, you probably bought this when it came out. It's one of the best priced games on the Switch 2, and if you're a fan, you would have already been aware of it and you already grabbed it. If you haven't and you are and you have a Switch 2, then this is an absolute yes. Run, get it, or download it right now. However, if you're someone who got all they needed out of it originally on the 3DS, and you're only thinking about getting it if there's a lot new or redone, it's honestly probably not for you. Yes, there are things that are improved. Yes, there are things that are new. But is enough to really sell a casual fan of the series? I honestly don't know, and I kind of don't think so. This is a release for new players and die-hard fans of the series. So there you have it. If you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe. I do stream on Twitch as well. All these videos that I make, I cover live first. So if you want to see the live rendition of it, go ahead and tune in on Twitch. Otherwise, thanks, and I'll catch you next time. Take care.